You slept 8 hours last night, maybe even 9, and yet, you woke up feeling like you barely slept at all. Heavy eyes, foggy brain, that weird exhaustion that sits in your chest before the day even starts. And the frustrating part? You did everything right. You went to bed at a decent time. You didn't stay up scrolling until 3 a.m. You gave your body the sleep it was supposed to need. So why do you still feel like this? Here's what nobody tells you. The problem isn't how long you're sleeping. It's what's happening inside your body while you sleep. And once you understand this one thing, everything changes. Most people think tiredness is simple. You didn't sleep enough, so you're tired. Sleep more. Problem solved. But that's not the full picture. Because there are millions of people out there, maybe you're one of them, who are sleeping plenty of hours and still waking up completely drained. Still reaching for coffee before they've even said good morning to anyone. Still feeling behind before the day has started. And for years, doctors would just say, sleep more, stress less, as if that advice actually helped anyone. But here's what's actually going on. Your body has a hormone called cortisol. You've probably heard of it. Most people know it as the stress hormone, and they think of it as the villain, something to get rid of. But cortisol isn't bad. You need it. Every single morning, your cortisol is supposed to rise. It's what wakes you up, gives you that initial energy, and gets your brain online. It's called the cortisol awakening response. And when it works the way it's supposed to, you wake up feeling clear and ready. The problem is when cortisol stops following the right schedule. Because cortisol isn't just a stress hormone, it's a timing hormone. It's supposed to be high in the morning and low at night. That's the natural rhythm. And when that rhythm gets disrupted, when cortisol stays elevated into the evening, when it spikes in the middle of the night, your sleep gets destroyed from the inside out. You might be in bed for 8 hours, but your body is running a stress response for half of them, and no amount of hours fixes that. So how does cortisol get out of rhythm in the first place? Let me paint you a picture that might sound familiar. You finish work, or school, or whatever fills your day, and you're mentally exhausted. But you can't really relax. There's still emails to check. Still things you didn't finish. Still that low hum of, I should be doing something sitting in the back of your mind. So you scroll, or you watch something, or you just sit there, not fully resting, not fully working. That in-between state where your body thinks you're still on alert. You eat dinner kind of late. You're on your phone or laptop until 10, 11 at night. You finally fall into bed because you're tired. Not because you prepared for sleep, but because exhaustion just won. Sound familiar? Here's what's happening on the inside. Every one of those things, the late night screen time, the unfinished mental loops, the overstimulation, even the artificial light, they all signal danger to your nervous system. And your body responds by keeping cortisol elevated to help you deal with the perceived threat. Your brain doesn't know you're just watching YouTube. It just knows there's light, there's stimulation, there's unresolved tension, so it keeps the stress response running. And then, when you finally fall asleep, your cortisol is still too high. Your body never got the signal that the day was over, that it was safe to fully rest. So your sleep is light, fragmented. Your body isn't able to do the deep repair work it needs to do. And in the morning, even after 8 hours, you feel like you just ran a marathon overnight. This is cortisol dysregulation, and it's quietly affecting more people than anyone realizes. Now here's where it gets interesting. Japan has one of the most high-pressure work cultures in the world. Long hours, intense social obligations, high expectations. You'd think they'd be one of the most cortisol-disrupted populations on the planet. And in many ways, Modern Japanese culture struggles with this too. But there's something woven into traditional Japanese daily life, especially the evening, that acts as a natural buffer against cortisol dysregulation. And it's not complicated. It's not a supplement or a biohack. It's the concept of a deliberate transition. In traditional Japanese culture, the evening isn't just the end of the day. It's a conscious shift, a putting down of the day's weight. Whether that's through a hot bath, the ofuro ritual, sitting quietly, preparing a simple meal with care, or just stepping outside to feel the night air, there's an intentional break between the working self and the resting self. And what this does neurologically is powerful. It signals to the nervous system, the day is done. You can come down now. It lowers cortisol. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest mode. It prepares the brain to actually produce melatonin and begin the shift into genuine sleep. The transition is the medicine. Most of us skip this completely. We go from full-speed doing to lying in bed, wondering why our mind won't stop. We never gave our nervous system the signal to downshift, so it doesn't. Okay, so let's talk about what to do with this, because understanding the problem is only half the battle. Here are the actual changes. Simple, practical, and based on how your biology actually works. The first one is creating a hard stop. Pick a time, let's say 9 p.m., and make it your mental shutdown point. Not bedtime, just the time when you stop doing anything that requires output. No emails, no planning, no problem solving. If a worry pops up, write it down and let it go. The goal is to tell your nervous system, input only from here. This sounds simple. It is simple, but it's one of the most powerful cortisol signals you can give your body. The second thing is heat before sleep. The Japanese ofuro tradition isn't just cultural, it's biological genius. When you take a warm bath or shower about an hour before bed, your core body temperature rises and then drops. That temperature drop is one of the body's key triggers for sleep onset. And the warm water itself activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which pulls cortisol down. Even 10 minutes, even just a warm shower. It genuinely works. Third, dim your environment, not just your screen. Most people know screens affect sleep, but the bigger issue is ambient light. Bright overhead lighting signals daytime to your brain, regardless of what's on your screen. Try switching to lamps, candles, or warmer lower lighting after 8 p.m. Your brain will start reading the environment as nighttime, and cortisol will begin its natural descent. Fourth, end the mental loops. One of the biggest cortisol drivers at night is unfinished thoughts. Your brain keeps a running tab of everything unresolved, and it stays activated, trying to work through them while you sleep. The fix is stupidly simple. Before bed, take 5 minutes and write down everything in your head. Not a journal, not a reflection, just a brain dump. Every worry, every task, everything you're holding. Get it out of your mind and onto paper. Research actually shows this reduces the time it takes to fall asleep. Your brain can finally stop holding on. And fifth, your morning anchors your night. Here's the thing most people miss. Cortisol rhythm isn't just a night problem. It starts in the morning. If you wake up and immediately check your phone, cortisol spikes. If your alarm goes off and your first feeling is dread, cortisol spikes. If you skip breakfast and rush out the door, cortisol spikes. All of that early morning dysregulation ripples forward into the evening. So a calm, intentional morning, even just 15 minutes of slowness before the chaos begins, is one of the most powerful things you can do for your sleep that night. The morning and the night are connected. Always. Here's the bigger picture. Chronic cortisol dysregulation doesn't just make you tired. It affects your weight, specifically that stubborn belly fat that doesn't respond to diet or exercise. It affects your mood, making you more reactive, more anxious, more emotionally flat. It dulls your motivation, making everything feel heavier than it should. And here's the cruel irony. When you're constantly tired, you make worse decisions. You eat worse. You move less. You reach for stimulants, coffee, sugar, your phone, to feel something. And every one of those things makes the cortisol problem worse. It's a cycle, a quiet one that most people just call being an adult, or that's just how I am now. But it's not just how you are. It's a biological rhythm that got disrupted. And biological rhythms can be restored. You don't need a complete life overhaul. You need consistent, gentle signals, night after night, that the day is over, that you are safe, and that your body is allowed to rest. That's it. That's the whole game. So let's bring this home. If you're waking up tired despite sleeping enough, the problem is cortisol dysregulation. Your stress hormone is running on the wrong schedule, keeping your nervous system alert when it should be resting. The fix isn't sleeping more. It's creating a clear stop point in your evening, using warmth to signal safety to your nervous system, dimming your environment as the night comes in, clearing your mind before bed, and protecting the calm of your mornings. None of this is complicated. None of it costs anything. It just requires you to take your evenings seriously, to treat the hours before sleep as preparation, not just waiting. Tonight, try one thing. Just one. Pick the one that felt most relevant to your life and do it. Not tomorrow. Tonight. Because you deserve to wake up feeling like the hours you gave to sleep actually meant something. If this helped, subscribe. There's a lot more coming on sleep, cortisol, and the small habits that quietly change everything. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.